Fight fans, buckle up. Pereira fires back at Ankalaev's camp and hints at heavyweight. Alex Pereira is not buying the talk from Magomed Ankalaev's team that his power is overrated.
Alex, obviously it's fight week, and already there's a storyline going into this one. We've seen the interactions between you and Magomed here at the PI. He says you're a liar. He says that your version of events is not what happened. Can you explain to us what the issue has been with Ankalaev this week?
Yeah, I don't know why he's saying that, because that's 100% what happened, but that just goes to show you that it's not him writing online. It's not coming from him. So what happens is somebody else is somewhere else writing for him, and then he comes here and he sees me. Maybe he thought, maybe I don't want to face him right now. I'm alone, but that's 100% what happened. So
when we spoke to, going back to the last fight, we spoke to Magomed last week, and he was asked about your success in takedown defense, and he chalked it up to where he wasn't able to. He was injured before the last fight, so he wasn't able to train in wrestling. But then he also made the allegation that after the first round, he went back and told his coaches that he thought you were greasier than normal and greased up. Did you hear those allegations, and what do you make?
Yeah, I think he mentioned that after the fight too, saying that I was hold up or whatever it was. But I think that just goes to show how much I've evolved in this game and how I was able to implement my game plan and take out his game, So it actually just strengthens me mentally to realize that, a lot of people were saying a lot of things about his takedowns and stuff, and I was able to take that out.
He pointed to the referee who said he had never seen impact like Pereira's and kept the focus on his own preparation rather than on Ankalaev's clips. After last week's Performance Institute moment, Pereira's message stayed simple and sharp. We are professionals, I respect you, and on October 4, I am going to hit you. Then came the long-term tease. His frame keeps growing. The cut to 205 is not getting easier, and if he takes the belt back, a move to heavyweight is very possible. The Adesanya rivalry still stands as his favorite chapter, but a second reign at light heavyweight with a jump to a third division would be legacy architecture in real time. Team Poatan or Team Ankalaev? Tell me your pick and method in the comments, tap like if you are riding with Pereira, and subscribe now so you do not miss our face-off breakdown the moment it drops. Dustin Poirier opens one door for boxing with Nate Diaz. Dustin Poirier says there is exactly one fight that could pull him back under bright lights in a different arena. 12 rounds in Zuffa boxing against Nate Diaz. The match that slipped away in 2018 still gnaws at him, and he wrote it plainly on social media. Zuffa boxing, 12 rounds, he and Nathaniel. For Poirier, this is not walking back retirement from mixed martial arts. It is choosing a different ring for one last fist fight. For Diaz, who floats between cage and ring, it is a perfect dance partner with history, grit, and a style that promises steady heat. If it gets ink, expect a sold-out building, a soundtrack of Stockton boos and Lafayette cheers, and southpaw stubbornness from the opening bell. Matt Brown's hard truth after Wanderlei's post-fight knockout. Wanderlei Silva's exhibition with Acelino Freitas turned chaotic. Fouls, a disqualification, a ring rush, and a knockout that sent the axe murderer to the hospital with stitches and a broken nose. Matt Brown offered a sober plea to the entire sport.
Watching him take one punch and just get absolutely knocked cold is just brutal.
Yeah, and unfortunately, no fighter's going to listen to, the coaches or friends or family and be like, "Oh, you shouldn't do it." They're like, "I'll prove you wrong." And that's what gets fighters to the level that they're at, is proving people wrong. Like, no one believes, when you're start your first amateur MMA fight that you're going to be a UFC champion either. So it's like, that's what we live off of, man, is that feeling. And I just encourage all these fighters, like anyone listening, any fighters that hear this, man, like, you got to be more than just a fighter. Your identity just has to be more than that. Now, when you're in there fighting, you have to be only a fighter, right? When you're actively competing, trying to work towards a championship, you don't need to be distracting your mind. And, you can't have all your eggs need to be in that basket. You can't have a single egg in another basket, man. But when it's time to hang it up, like, you got to find something else, man. You have to. And I know these guys, Wanderlei probably got paid pretty decent, but like, there's other ways to make money, man. And I think a lot of, I've struggled with this myself. Like, you feel like you're almost too good to do something else, right? I gotta go into my own gym, right? And like, people are like amazed that I'm in my gym, are like, bro, I didn't think you'd be here. It's like, dude, like, do you think that I just like travel the world and, and make millions of dollars everywhere I go or something? And yeah, that is what people think. I think, they think I should be living in Miami, with Rolexes and beautiful women all around all the time. And it's like, that's just not the case, man. It's, we don't get paid what they think we get paid from the UFC, right? And I know casuals or regular people aren't following the sport, the news and media and stuff that closely, right? So when we're talking about things like the lawsuit where we found out how much people are actually getting paid, like these people don't know that shit. So, but we all know it, and I think there's a lot of how'd you say it? Like guys, we see guys like Connor and of course, like Floyd. I don't know, like we see other fighters and we think we see them on social media and we see the what we think that their lives are like, and we're, well, he's living like this, I can't be this cheese ball over here living like this. And I think we have to get past that.
Fighters are wired to ignore do not. The defiance that makes champions also drags veterans past the cliff. Brown urged pros to build an identity beyond fighter, to protect the brain like a crown jewel, and to remember there are other ways to make money than absorbing shots at 49. It was not a scolding. It was empathy from someone who knows the itch, the pride, and the irreversible bill that comes due. Fight week shuffle as UFC 320 loses Diaz versus Gauthier with replacement targeted. Every big card rolls dice during fight week. For UFC 320, the featured prelim blinked. Ozzy Diaz announced a medical issue and withdrew from his middleweight bout with Ateba Gauthier. The statement was heartfelt, the tone gutted. Health first, apologies to the opponent and UFC. Behind the curtain, matchmakers are working to keep Gauthier on the bill. That matters because the 23-year-old Contender Series product is 2 wins with 2 first-round knockouts in the octagon, most recently a 70-second blitz in July. If you are a clean, ready middleweight with short-notice swagger, this is the kind of window that can change a career in 15 furious minutes. Lobov versus Tukhugov scratched at the last minute in Dubai. Artem Lobov's planned return from a 5-year retirement was meant to settle old heat with Zubaira Tukhugov, bad blood that once pulled Conor McGregor, Khabib's crew, and a bus into the same headline. Instead, an injury in camp pulled Lobov and iced the fight on the eve of showtime. The irony is heavy. Years ago, Tukhugov withdrew from a scheduled UFC date with Lobov. Now the roles reverse. The grudge lingers, the calendar keeps moving, and whether they ever share a ring again depends on health, timing, and how much both sides still want that chapter closed. Pereira and Ankalaev, 2 hallway words, cage answers. Back to the main event pulse. The Performance Institute encounter was more than content. It was a barometer. Pereira sat beside Ankalaev's coach, called out the "he is hiding" whispers, stood up and told the champion to his face that October 4 is about contact, not captions. Ankalaev answered with granite calm. Stop the chatter, see you Saturday. Add in Sukrab Magomedov's jab that Pereira's power is overrated, and you get the classic undercut of a puncher who has ended nights with a single clean shot. If Pereira wins, he becomes a 2-time light heavyweight king with heavyweight intrigue getting louder in the background. If Ankalaev doubles down, he validates the thesis from their first meeting and slams the window on Poatan's 205 project. The entries, clinch breaks, and pocket exits will tell the story before the scorecards do. Zuffa Boxing Runway and the Poirier-Diaz fuse. Poirier name-checking. Zuffa Boxing landed the same week the outfit outlined its United States broadcast future. That is not accident. That is a lane being paved. A Poirier versus Diaz headliner would tick every box. Marketable names, real history, and a style promise of trench warfare. It also lets Poirier keep retired from mixed martial arts while Diaz plays his favorite game, a fist fight with clinch talking and crowd theater. If the bout is greenlit, expect a flood of one-night-only call-outs from mixed martial arts greats who want to try 12 in big gloves. The heavyweight whisper grows louder. When Pereira says 205 is getting tough, believe him. He is adding functional mass, he is in his 30s, and the cut does not care about legacy. If he grabs the belt this weekend, a measured walk to heavyweight makes real sense. Fewer pounds to shed, power carried north, and matchups that turn into event posters the second they are announced. It is not a promise. Pereira rarely overpromises. It is loud foreshadowing, and if you are holding heavyweight gold in 2026, you should notice the shadow getting bigger. Bigger picture health history and the cost of one more. This week distilled what we love and fear about combat sports. A legend like Wanderlei takes one more walk and pays for it. A craftsman like Poirier draws a clear border around the end of a Hall of Fame career, then circles one last hand wrap because the story still itches. A live wire like Pereira balances legacy, weight, and the pressure of being the man everyone measures themselves against. A rising name like Gauthier waits to see if a short notice miracle lands. It is why we tune in. It is also why we say the quiet part out loud. Protect the brain, tell hard truths, and pick moments like your future depends on it, because it does. Who wins on Saturday, Pereira or Ankalaev? Do we see Poatan move to heavyweight? Next, should Zuffa Boxing make Poirier versus Diaz the marquee? Drop your takes below, hit subscribe, and ring the bell so you catch weigh-ins, late replacements, and our live post-fight recap the second the horn sounds.